Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central and welcome back to the Master series. Today we're gonna go over Lucio in this Master Lucio episode featuring DSPStanky. You may know him from his previous couple of montages with Lucio that have gone sort of semi-viral, at least on r/Overwatch and just the internet as a whole. This is a top tier Lucio player on both console and PC, and he's in a very sort of unique spot with switching over from console to PC now, and has a lot of tips and knowledge about the hero, and hopefully we'll be able to provide you with some of that for today. So yeah, let's get into it and start with a bit more of a thorough introduction of DSPStanky.
Hey guys, I'm DSPStanky, and that's how you say my name. It's DSP and then Stanky. I get a lot of people who say it's a DPS, Tanky or anything like that. I played Lucio, obviously. I used to play on console, and then I moved to PC. On Season 1, I reached a peak of 81. And that was like top 100 on console. And then Season 2 on console, I reached a peak of 39.89, which was also top 100 on console. Then in the middle, or actually near the end of Season 2, I moved to PC, and I'm sure a bunch of people watching this have seen the Vindication video. I reached a max rank of 40.85 on PC, which at the time was the cutoff for was above the cutoff for top 500. But for some reason, I never got it. A lot of people had the issue. I think it's like a hidden MMR kind of thing. That's besides the point. I have lots and lots of time on Lucio on console. I have 300 to 400 hours easy. And then on PC right now, I think I'm definitely over 100. I had 59 hours in Season 2 comp alone for PC, so I played a lot of Lucio.
Yeah, so that's kind of why we're here, and it's kind of why I've got an assortment of questions lined up for you. Some of them more general, some of them more specific, but anyway, let's just get started with some more general Lucio tips. We try to ask about common mistakes, things you see a lot of people do that they shouldn't be doing, anything from just being out of position in some very common way to just, smaller tips that have really helped you along the way.
As far as common mistakes go, a lot of people don't seem to understand how his song auras and his ult work. They're line of sight based, and so the number in the center of your screen when you're playing Lucio is the number of teammates that are currently getting the benefit of your songs that are in LOS. As far as his ult goes, I see a lot of Lucios, especially newer Lucios, and even Grandmaster Lucios will like jump off a high, like a large height, and then drop the beat, which like obviously when you activate your ult and you're falling from a high distance, it's going to take a lot longer than if you just dropped it from where you were standing originally. So more often than not, it's always a terrible idea to drop the beat off a jump unless you have no other choice. Always drop the beat where you're standing, or if you can, when you activate your ult, you do a little jump. If you can use that jump to land on a higher surface, you'll drop the beat faster than if you just like were standing and did your ult. So I occasionally do that when things when things hit the fan very quickly. So that's a small tip for his ult. Also recently, is it Daft Kid? Yeah, Daft Kid posted his Lucio commentary video where he explains a trick that I've been using for a while that I've never really, that I can't seem to explain very well. But so when you drop his ult, you have like a window of time. It's like a second to maybe a second and a half, where you can be out of line of sight of your teammates, but then move into line of sight, and they'll still get the buff of the ult. So sometimes you'll see me drop ult behind like a corner or a wall, and then I'll run into the middle of the fight, and everybody will still get the buff. If you want to look at that, like get an actual visual example of that, you can look at Daft Kid's My First Lucio commentary video. He explains it really well.
Right, yeah, that's pretty good, going both from more general stuff to something like really in depth. And yeah, for sure, I'll make sure to link the video on screen with a little YouTube card so you guys can have a look at that as well. But yeah, like you said, there are Lucio tips just appearing a little bit here and there. There are some general stuff that some people haven't gotten. But like, say that you've gotten that stuff down, maybe you've even watched a lot of like Lucio content and read a lot of guides as a player, and like after watching your videos as well, you notice especially there that you switch a lot between healing and speed, and you have a lot of different sort of, stuff that you can almost say that you min-max about the hero. What can you say about doing that more specifically, and how effective and maybe even essential can that be?
So for song swapping, there's a couple reasons why you do it. If you watch me, you'll notice when I'm climbing up surfaces, it looks like I'm rapidly spamming my crossfade. But in reality, it's all intentional. It's to the rhythm of my jumps, because when you switch to heals and then jump off a surface or touch a surface, it slows you down. So you can more precisely control your jumps, which allows you to wall climb better and to just kind of glide around. And then there's also the fact that Lucio has unique deceleration. So it's the bunny hopping thing. So you can amp your speed and then swap to heals and bunny hop, and you'll still move at the same speed as when you amped, but you'll be on heals, which is really beneficial for either escaping or healing your team while being hard to hit. And then the other reason I swap is to make myself hard to hit, which I think is the hardest thing to explain, because I really learned how to do it as a rhythm thing. Like, it just kind of developed over time, because you can really mess with people's prediction of your momentum. So you can jump in the air, and right before you land, swap to heals, and it's like a break. You will slow down, and McCree's will over calculate and just miss the shot completely. And you can swap back to speed and dodge shots again. And it's very hard to teach that. It's something you have to get a feel for. How I started to learn how to do is I just started randomly doing it. I just kind of threw it in during my dodges on console before the aim assist fix. That's one thing I should add, by the way. On console, this doesn't really work very well anymore because aim assist is actually really strong. But on PC, you can definitely use that to mess up the predictions of your speed.
Yeah, that's interesting, because your first big video and sort of, I guess, breakthrough to some degree was on console, so a lot of people know that, oh yeah, that's the guy who used to play on console or played on console or made that one video on console that went really big. And now on PC it's obviously a little bit different, but yeah, taking advantage of things like that is obviously very beneficial in this case. But would you recommend that other people should play Lucio the way you do then? Like, more the difference between playing aggressively and defensively? Obviously speed and healing can, really, I guess, are big sort of characteristics of those different playstyles, but at the same time there's a lot to playing Lucio aggressively versus defensively, going for boop sort of assassinations and so on. What's your idea on that? Should we be playing the way you play, essentially?
I mean, there's been a lot of discussion on my playstyle since my video came out. A lot of discussion. And so as far as like if people should be playing the way I play, I mean, what I do definitely has results, but it's very, very high risk, high reward things. Like I if I mess up one of my quote unquote clutch plays, I can potentially throw the game for people. So it's really a matter of being able to read a situation well, and if you can do it, go for it. And just be confident about it. So I wouldn't say necessarily you should aim to play like me, but you should always you should definitely increase your game sense, your map awareness, everything, because it'll allow for you to move that slider between defensive and aggressive Lucio to be the most effective Lucio. Because there's definitely a lot more room for Lucios in the meta right now to be more aggressive. Like, you can do more than just sit behind your team and exist. There's a lot of and the other thing, especially at the lower ranks, is people underutilize his speed boost. His speed boost is useful for disengaging, for helping your teammates retreat, for helping your teammates push in, for helping your teammates chase down straight targets, for helping your teammates dodge. Like, it's very helpful in a lot of different situations that people just, they speed boost out of spawn and that's it. Like, that's not the only use for a speed boost.
Yeah, for sure. I guess sort of as a bit of a side question almost, you touched briefly on the sort of current meta and how there is room for more Lucio play. What more do you want to say about the current meta and how these more latest balance changes, and in season 3 as well, how Lucio does there, his situation has been affected?
Well, with the slower ult charges and with the 10% healing nerf he recently got, healing isn't always the most reliable source of ult charge for him, especially if you have a second healer that is doing the job really well, like an Ann or something. People aren't going to be taking as much damage, or they're going to be getting healed too quick for your ult to charge very fast. So you're going to have to rely on Lucio doing damage, or helping your teammates get picks and things like that, in order to build or in order to like make a push. So I mean, right now with Lucio in the meta, especially with all the nerfs, like I think there's going to have to be a little bit more reliance on aggressive tactics, just so that he can still be impactful.
Right, yeah, for sure. And moving on, I guess moving back to even when you talked a little bit more about console and PC and that transition, we briefly mentioned it, but like, was it overall a challenge, and was it very difficult for you to make that change? You said that the sort of aim assist thing on console obviously was a bit of a hinder for you as a Lucio there, so that might have been helpful for you not having that on PC. But is there anything else that you've learned in the process?
As far as swapping from PC from console, it took me back, because I used to play PC like 6-7 years ago when I was in high school. I built my own PC, and then when I went to college, I didn't have the money to upgrade it and bring it with me, so I just played console. So I knew how to aim previously, but after 6 or 7 years of not playing PC, it took me back a good solid day or two to uncross my wires and to get used to aiming again. And then it was just a matter of getting my rhythm back. So that was definitely the hardest part. It was just, getting readjusted to the aiming. And then I think it was when I hit Diamond was when I really started noticing like the pinpoint accuracy that some people had. And that's when I really had to shake it up and start doing crazy movement and starting to really improve upon my jukes. So I definitely say the hardest thing was adjusting to the precision aim on PC. But overall, I would say console and PC are more or less the same for like game sense and things like that.
Yeah, game knowledge and that sort of mechanical skill, even to some degree, can carry over, is sort of what I've heard. But yeah, it's good to hear that, because a lot of people have been thinking, oh, maybe I should actually move over to PC, or maybe even people trying out both platforms and that sort of thing. So it's definitely an interesting aspect of all of this. But to try and wrap this up and finish it off, what is the tip that has helped you the most? And yeah, just the one tip. It doesn't have to be anything, revolutionary, but there might also be something more complex that people haven't even thought about before and are not familiar with at all.
I would say wall riding. Straight up, Lucio's wall riding is very underutilized. When I first started playing Lucio, I think it was like the end of the open beta, and then for like a day or two when the game first came out, because I think it was like a week after the game came out, Jamie Allegro made his wall riding fundamentals video, and I watched that, and from that moment on I was like, oh, I totally understand wall riding now. This is so easy, and like that's when I started practicing and getting that crazy movement that garnered me so much attention. But his wall riding allows you to position yourself in much superior ways than the enemy can. There are times where I will be like as high up as a Pharah is, and will drop down and will blow people off, and they'll have no idea I was there. Like it also allows you to do call outs. Like positioning is very important in Overwatch, and Lucio's wall riding mechanic can really, like, it can win you fights.
Yeah, no, for sure. As someone who's actually played like a fair bit of Lucio still, especially like back in the beta sometimes, and I was really fond of wall riding as well, and that was what really sort of got me into the hero initially, at least. And I do feel like even I, as someone who's somewhat aware of it and how useful it can be, still underutilize it to some degree. So that's a good tip for sure. To finish this video off, do you want to just plug your Twitch and YouTube and so on real quick, and tell people where they can find you and when they can find you as well?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, my Twitter, my Twitch, it's DSPStanky, so DSPStanky. It's the same thing for any social media that I use. Same thing on Reddit. And on Twitch, usually I stream every night from 7 p.m. to midnight on the weekdays. And that's Mountain Standard Time. And then on the weekends, I never stream before 1 p.m. on Mountain Standard Time. But it just really depends on what I'm doing, like if I'm editing videos or if I want to get some more work done or whatever. So it's kind of random, but I always post an update to Twitch, to give an idea of when I'm gonna stream, like at least an hour in advance. So.
Okay, cool, awesome. Thank you so much for joining me here and for giving all these Lucio tips to our audience, and just sort of compiling all of this knowledge into one video. It's really nice. I really enjoyed it myself, and as someone who does, I am put on the Lucio a bit now and then in ranked, even though I don't play him as much as maybe some other heroes. I definitely appreciate it as well. So thank you very much for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And that is pretty much it for this time. Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure to check out DSPStanky's Twitch. It's at the top of the description. He's also got a YouTube channel that's just underneath that. So make sure to follow and subscribe on there. Give him a follow on Twitter if you want, at DSPStanky. And we hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to drop any questions in the comments below, or just any general Lucio discussion, and we'll see what we can answer. Do also subscribe for more Overwatch content and drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you then.